Any Jewish person that votes for Democrats hates their religion. They hate everything about Israel, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
An absolutely furious Donald Trump exploded in an anti-Semitic tirade, even threatening American Jews. This happened in an interview on Sebastian Gorka's radio show. If you don't know who Sebastian Gorka is, congratulations, I'm jealous of you. I wish I didn't know who Sebastian Gorka was. The New York Times with a write-up, Trump says Jews who support Democrats, quote, hate Israel and hate their religion. This echoes an anti-Semitic trope and escalates claims that Trump made as president that were widely criticized. Let's listen to it, okay? Oh boy, let's see if we can play it here. Here is Trump being interviewed by Sebastian Gorka. It's all very dark and grim, but let's listen to it.
America first, magnificent.
Why do the Democrats hate Israel so much? Or is it Bibi Netanyahu? That's next here with President Trump.
Right.
It's not just Ukraine, however, Mr. President. We now have a war in the Middle East. For 4 years, there was no war under your tenure as Commander-in-Chief. You have proven yourself to be the most pro-Israel, most philo-Semitic president since the rebirth of Israel in 1948. You moved the embassy. You recognized Jerusalem. It's one of my great regrets that I was invited to the reopening of the new embassy that Ambassador Friedman created in Jerusalem. I couldn't go. Could you explain why is it seemingly that this administration, including Chuck Schumer in the Senate, hate the man that Israel chose as their prime minister? Why do the Democrats hate Bibi Netanyahu?
Remember, Netanyahu is a right winger, okay? So the reason that we on the left don't like Netanyahu is that he's a hardcore right winger who doesn't really want peace, benefits from chaos and disorder. And we don't want him the same way we don't want Trump or Orban or whatever right-wing leader. It has nothing to do with hating Israel. But let's hear what Trump says about it.
I actually think they hate Israel.
Yes.
I don't think they hate him. I think they hate Israel. And the Democrat Party hates Israel. And the Democrat Party, if you remember, when many Israeli representatives, including Netanyahu, when they came to the country begging, at that time President Obama, please don't make the Iran nuclear deal, which is a disaster and was a disaster. And I ended it. But unfortunately, they didn't do anything with the ending of it. I ended it and would have had a new deal made with Iran. It would have been good for everybody, and there would have been no nuclear weapons. You know, they're very close to getting a nuclear weapon right now. Yes. And once they have that, it becomes a different form of negotiation, a much more difficult negotiation. But I really believe they hate Israel, and they also see a lot of votes. Don't forget, when you see those Palestinian marches, even I'm amazed at how many people are in those marches. And guys like Schumer see that, and to him it's votes. I think it's votes more than anything else, because he was always pro-Israel. He's very anti-Israel now. Any Jewish person that votes for Democrats hates their religion. They hate everything about Israel, and they should be ashamed of themselves, because Israel will be destroyed. You have Iran now making a nuclear weapon. None of that would have.
So there's the threat. If Jews are voting for Democrats, you'd better be damn careful, because Israel will end up destroyed. This is a very tidy summation of a classic anti-Semitic series of tropes. The first element of this is that American Jews care as much or more about Israel than they do about domestic issues like healthcare, education, roads, etc. And of course, there are many American Jews and many American non-Jews, evangelicals, anti-Israeli people who care about Israel positively or negatively. But to assume that American Jews, most of whom have never been and never will go to Israel and have no family in Israel, are primarily concerned with Israel is part of the dual loyalty anti-Semitic trope. Now, for many American Jews, Israel is like what's going on with the Uyghurs or the Syrian civil war or the Rohingya or what's going on in Ethiopia, or it is a global conflict that involves different groups of people on which you may or may not have an opinion. To assume that for American Jews, that's the priority is part of a dual loyalty anti-Semitic trope. The other part of this is the idea of real Jews. Who are the real Jews? And this is also something that we see from right and left, and we've seen it a lot over the last several months. From the right, you often hear ideas like this. Real Jews would never vote for Democrats because Democrats are not supportive enough of Israel. So by definition, the real Jews are the ones that are voting for Republicans. I've also seen on the left from some anti-Israeli Jewish groups the claim that real Jews would never, quote, support genocide. Now, I've still never met a Jewish person who supports genocide, but put that aside for a moment. It's again this gatekeeping. Who gets to call themselves or qualify as a Jewish person based on their beliefs through your lens of what is appropriate? And this one exists on the left and on the right. So listen, I know that with Trump, it's always from some defenders of Trump. Well, come on, David. He's got a Jewish son-in-law and his daughter converted to Judaism and he has Jewish people working for him. Listen, Nixon had Kissinger working for him. That didn't mean Nixon was not anti-Semitic and believed and perpetuated all sorts of anti-Semitic tropes. So this is that Jews of a certain type should be ashamed, and also the threat, if you don't vote for me, Israel may end up destroyed. It's classic Trump. That's what it is. It's classic Trump, and it's disgusting. When you log into your Google or Facebook account, these companies have your IP address, which is valuable to them because when you do all of your other browsing online, almost every site on the web is sending your IP address and browsing activity back to those big tech companies so they know what you do across the internet. The only solution is to hide your IP address while you're online using a VPN. I use private internet access, the only VPN that is proven multiple times in court. They do not log your activity. Private internet access is optimized for streaming and for large downloads. You can access content on streaming platforms like Netflix that's normally only available in other countries. Private internet access now has 91 country servers to pick from and new dedicated IP locations. It also comes with their built-in ad and malware blocker called Mace, which blocks virtually all pop-ups. Private internet access is giving my audience 83% off, comes out to $203 a month, plus 4 extra months for free. Go to piavpn.com/Pacman. The link is down below.